hell's going on. Or start talking, say we're testing the audio, and then I'll see if I can hear it.
Yeah, okay. So, if there's anyone actually listening to this stream out there, uh, we had a technical failure on my part, so we had to stop the stream and start up again. Okay, should we go back and say everything we said before, or just continue where we left off?
Let's say everything before.
Sure, we might as well restart at this point.
Okay, back to square one. Hope everyone remembers what they said.
Yep.
Uh, Zero, you want to run us through the intro again?
Okay. Welcome everyone to our podcast. It's me, Zero, here with
Rye.
Decade.
Drago.
Vashi V.
And today we're talking about Kamen Rider Ex-Aid episode 31. Now, as a quick reminder, last week Dan Kuroto returned, and now he's a bugster. Returned from the dead, that is. This week we open up with him making himself at home inside of Poppy's room, which is in her arcade cabinet, and he's just setting up his own stuff. And he's changed his name to New Dan Kuroto. But he's still a narcissistic asshole, deciding on his own to use CR as his new office and not believing that there's anything he has to apologize for. So, what do you guys think of the new Dan Kuroto?
I think it's pretty interesting, and to call himself New Dan Kuroto is pretty accurate. He's definitely not exactly the same as he was as a human. And one thing that was interesting right off the bat is he pretty much hints that, oh, those people dying doesn't matter because of save data. And I don't think old Dan Kuroto would have pointed that out. He probably would have used that like as leverage or something. So yeah, pretty good start to the episode right off the bat.
Game also in the opening was nice. I just hope that they had just CGI'd him into the where the circular transformation thing. And then decorating Poppy's arcade was actually a pretty funny scene, and also him holding out the banner and calling himself New or Shin Dan Kuroto was pretty funny. When and all the riders' mouths are left hanging when he said that. When this contingency is also the second contingency, because the thing is that there was the Go Rider where he got the Go Rider special where he used the contingency, and yeah, that's and I don't know, they're not referencing that. Yeah, pretty much that's it.
Like the scene with him in Poppy's cabinet, the best scenes of Dan for this version. It shows that there's the way he acts and the way he's, for lack of a better term, taking over. It shows that he's still the Dan that we've come to despise and love all at the same time. But the calling himself new Dan Kuroto and just antagonizing Poppy a little bit with rearranging her room. There's a levity that shows that there's a difference between Dan Kuroto, who was Dangerous Zombie and the evil dickhead, versus Dan as a bugster. It shows that there's some corruption within the save data.
Okay. Draga, did you want to say anything else? Yes.
Yeah, I think the corruption in save data is not like, I don't think it's a corruption of save data, but most of the bugsters that we have encountered all have been playful except Graphite. Maybe that playfulness of being a Buckster rubbed off on Dan.
Okay. Um, it it could be the Bugster thing. My thing is that what happened is like he's just a save file basically, and which means like either he's not the full version of Dan, or um, that he's a less crazy version of Dan. So either way, he's going to be different because either he's like an earlier version where he was less crazy, or he's just a version that isn't 100% of Dan. Like the save data only save like the important stuff. So like there's no nuance. So that's why he kind of flip flops between being like, mad genius and just crazy. Um, it's interesting. As for like Go Rider, yeah, I think like the real one died in Go Rider, and then potentially it depends on how much canon Go Rider is, right? Like
100%.
yeah, I mean we want to believe that, but like it ties into the Tyson movies, and like the Tyson movies are not generally not canon, so like especially with maybe some things that are happening later, like it's kind of hard to tell. Like if it is canon, then my belief that there's two options is just like, yeah, it could just be because of this process he got a little more messed up, and that's why his personality got changed around, or it's not a 100% perfect copy and that's why it's messed up. Either way, like it's not exactly the same. Um okay, keep going.
This new Dan definitely doesn't feel evil like he did before. He feels more playful even. I wonder if he using Dangerous Zombie too much had any influence on him, because that game was just straight up evil.
Well, he's gonna start using it again next episode.
We haven't gone to that yet.
Well, he will.
Yeah,
So
we will.
we'll see. I don't think it will though. I think he'll just be silly.
So there's an emergency call. Emu answers it and heads out to the scene. It's the Shakariki sports bugster Charlie. Emu shows up as Ex-Aid and starts to fight him, but then Parado interrupts to finish their fight from last episode. Puppy shows up and summons Dan out of our Buggle driver to back up Ex-Aid. Dan and Parado hench into Genom and Paradox and begin fighting while Ex-Aid chases after Charlie. Nico shows up and steals the kill so she can collect the clear token as proof. Genom reveals his level 0 form can weaken his opponent through physical contact. Paradox finishes him off with a secret move! You guys ever like play fighting games when you're younger and you didn't know how to do any of the specials, and so you just called them the secret moves?
Yes.
No one else? No?
I actually
Okay,
looked at the manual, so
yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Basically, yeah. In the older, man, those older fighting moves are so needlessly complicated.
I did not have a manual for Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo.
I know, right? Like I've been playing it lately too. It's just madness. Like, and of course, there's no manual. Also, as Jake Kingston says, yes, repeatedly, and I still lost. That's all of our experiences for calling them secret moves.
um, Dan returns to life by popping out of a Mario warp pipe and explains that the level 0 Gashet has a continue system and he still has 98 lives remaining. Paradox immediately gets tired of his shit and leaves. Like, what the fuck? This is just his god complex at its finest. Yeah, you can't beat me because I still have 98 lives.
Yeah, that just totally confirmed what I was hoping would be the case, that I think this Dan is here to stay. I don't think he's going to get permanently killed off anytime soon with that many lives. But one thing I think you forgot was during the fight, he's holding Paradox, and Paradox's level starts going down.
I mentioned that he can weaken his opponents through physical contact.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way they do it in the show is that Paradox's level starts dropping like a timer.
Yeah, but that just totally further showcased how this Dan is a lot more straightforward, like a Bugster would be, because he pretty much just says straight up, "Oh yes, I have the power to decrease your levels." So yeah, his Bugsterness is definitely being portrayed pretty well. And the whole coming back to life thing was just totally great, because for a while there we were kind of tricked into believing that Parado had all the great ideas and that Kuroto was just kind of going crazy with that danger zombie, but nope, turns out he had some plans all along.
For Drago will be back in a minute. He's but for me the best part of that entire scene was at the same time for me the worst. The the CG used with Dan coming back from his continue. I discussed this with Decade the other day, and Decade made an excellent point on it. It literally looks like the worst possible graphics used, especially when compared to all of the other CG that's been in this show. The CG in the show has been phenomenal. And then there's this. It literally looks like the CG artist had a bring your kid to work day and let their kid do it.
I thought it was supposed to look dumb.
Well, the Decade had a good point if he wants to mention it, or I can mention it.
Yeah, go for it.
Decade's point was basically that this is the alpha build of a game. It's not polished, it's not done, so the idea that the graphics wouldn't be on par makes sense. It fits.
It does. And also, the reference to Mario, like, they literally just pop straight up out of the warp pipe, and that's what Dan did.
But it was great, and him having the ability to drain Ex-Aid or drain the levels of whoever he's touching. It was nice in the way the fact that Dan he's not even trying to be coy or be sly with anything. He's just touching him. Oh yeah, by the way, I can do this. Touch. He's not trying to hide it or anything like that, like the way he did when he was human and trying to hide what he can do. It's just, nope, this is what I can do. Because he's done that now twice with the explaining the area around him that keeps Parado from taking over Emu. And now this. So it's just one of those I'm going, oh, what ability are you going to point out you have next that will somehow be used effectively? Because that level up or drop into levels thing was used expertly this episode.
Yeah, it was an interesting plot point. ST Kingston kind of pointed out it's basically like the Heartless from Kingdom Hearts. They just keep coming back, regardless of how many times you kill them. So there's your Kingdom Hearts reference. As for like why it looks like crap, I'm like, yeah, that's the joke. It's like an alpha build, so it looks so like thrown together, and that's hilarious because it's like this epic holy shit the world is on the line, or at least the city, kind of insane stakes, and then Dan bites the dust and freaking wakes up, through like gets out of a freaking warp pipe. It's ridiculous and it's great. um as for like the live system, yeah, it's interesting, but okay, what happens when like Dan runs out? So the way he's like talking about save data, I kind of get like a vibe. Like, I don't think it's gonna go this dark, but it could, where it's like the ghost thing, where it's like, what's your power source? Oh, right, the power source is human souls. Um, that's how they keep living forever and shit. Well, not exactly, but that's sort of how their society works. Whatever. Um, as for like his level diminishing power, I wonder, like, because they're throwing down with Peridot, Graphite, and new CEO guy. Um, is Peridot's level gonna be back up to 99? Does it only work if he's touching it? Like, is it only active for that fight?
The way to answer this question would be to check what level he ended at during this part, and then check where the timer starts the next time he grabs him. But I'm not willing to put in that effort.
I might. I'm pretty sure it resets after he like bails, though. I'll check.
Um, yeah, everything about this level 0 feels like Dan is cheating. I mean, I get that he's a game master, but still. Poppy has another flashback of the person she infected. She calls a meeting of the riders at CR and reveals that her host was Dan's mom. Dan's mom was on her deathbed anyways, leading Poppy to believe that Dan had infected her to save her data. Dan does suggest that there is a way to restore someone who's vanished. Hiro leaves to go to the roof, where Taiga and Nika join him for a little talk, while Emu, Poppy, and Dan have their own talk in the CR room. And boy, is this scene just heavy with emotion. Like, Emu not only does not trust Dan, does not forgive him for anything he's done, because Dan is just not treating lives like they're human lives. Meanwhile, Hiro is holding on to the ray of hope that he could get his girlfriend back. And Taiga is willing to work with Dan to get his revenge against Graphite. What do you guys think?
Yeah, so I did check. Parado's or Paradox's level does reset before the next fight. But yeah, one of the lines that new Kuroto said is like, "Oh, I was just making save data to protect my genius, not to save people." That was total BS, and I really like that the actor was able to portray his kind of good and Kuroto's good intentions
You can
kind of shining
see
through. Yeah, it's so great.
you can see him dodging the question.
Yeah, totally. And then was that a Tyson reference up on the roof with Hiro? And then Taigo is saying you're gonna rely on the you without a coat or something. Because I know in the Tyson, from what I've seen, that's like a subplot. Is there's an evil Hiro doppelganger? I have no idea what the hell that's all about. Yeah, there's an evil Hiro in the Tyson. I don't know. I think that was a Tyson
I mean,
reference.
it might have something to do with, how in the hero has the Gashad and then it magically disappears at the end, and like Foundation X has it, and like Foundation X is in the Tyson movie. So like maybe Hero and Foundation X, and something happened back when he was in America, so it could have a plot point, or maybe it's a freaking alternate reality or some shit crashing through. Who knows?
These movies need to release faster so we don't have these questions.
Because it makes the podcasts hard, because now we have to speculate. That's usually never very good.
I mean, it's not the movie is out in theaters. The problem is we have to wait till like it's on DVD for the subgroups start working on them, and that's the problem. Um, Also, right, Kingston. What did you say? Yeah, he's just pretty much saying here looks badass, and also Return of the Dealers of Hell. I'm like, okay, it's more like the white lab coats of standing around pretending that they know what the fuck they're doing, assholes of hell, as opposed to like actually throwing down. Like, okay, think about it. Who's the most like recently the most effective like villain squad is from Kamen Rider 4, and that's a fucking like V cinema. Like, what do you guys think?
I think we shouldn't be talking about Foundation X right now.
Yeah, I just wanted to make one more point that so yeah, Emu's pretty pissed at Kuroto, and it really is well deserved because I mean he cried when Kuroto died because he couldn't save him, and now that he has a second chance, on the surface he pretty much hasn't changed and he's still a nut job. But I mean that's because the next emotional moment hasn't happened yet. So yeah, I really liked Emu being broody.
Like it was a nice touch with both scenes, because you get Hiro, up on the roof wanting to save, with now he has the hope that I can save my girlfriend, who was turned into a buckster by creating graphite, and you get that connection with Taiga and Nico of them going, yeah, we've been at odds pretty much this entire series, but I have a score to settle with graphite, so I will help you. And with the way the phrasing and the the cadence at which he says it for Taiga, it seems to be more than just I'm out for revenge. It literally seems legitimate of you're in a tough spot, I want to help you. And then you get Dan and Emu down in the office, and Dan being Dan, dodging everything, and seeming to not care. And then you get Emu, who's like Decade said, all of his anger and animosity towards Dan is entirely justified. Dan has done nothing but be an evil piece of shit, albeit crazy as fuck, but he's been nothing but an evil piece of shit since the start of the series. He has been the overall cause of every death, every person who's just vanished in Kamen Rider Chronicle, because it was his creation. He is at fault for all of it. So Emu being at that point of I can't work with somebody like you who's has shown no attempt to atone for what you've done and all that. It's extremely emotional and very well done. It's one of the few times in this series that I've seen Emu with this level of emotion throughout the series. The other most notable one was the other two most notable ones that I can think of off the top of my head are when Dan died and when Taiga died, or not Taiga, Coroner. I can never remember his name. Kamen Rider Laser. When Laser died, that works easier.
You mean Kiria?
Yes, thank you, Kirya. I don't know why I could not remember that. Probably because he's dead.
I'm sad now. Zero, do you have anything to say about?
Yeah, you guys covered like most of the good points. Um, it's really nice to see like such like complex dynamics playing out because it's like okay, every all right. I mean, I guess like yeah, like literally every single person in that room, or one are common writers, and then two have two different reasons and reactions to like everything. Like Dan, like you hear his backstory, and then like he immediately covers it up. Like, he has a good side, or at least he intended for it. But then like either he was covering it up super hard, or like it's been so long that like his ego is just overtaken like his more like humanity. So he's just an egotistical asshole now. I mean, it could just be because he's a bugster, so that part's coming out more. And then you have like Hero, like just starting to lie right off the bat, you know, just because like he's starting to almost get ready to fly off the rails um, because like there's a chance that his girlfriend might come back, and he's almost ready to like give up everything to go and chase off, chasing that dream. And then like Taiga sees this, and he's like, "Dude, this fucking bullshit, right? You know that. Like, don't do it." Basically, but he can't come out and say it, and like Nico's pretty much been at odds with these guys, but like now you kind of like help Taiga and everybody. So it's pretty interesting. Plus, like Poppy, where like yeah, she knows like Dan's an evil bastard, but he also created her. So like there's all this other complex shit going on. Um, as Shit Kingston's like, maybe we should just split Dan's ego into a Bugster. Also, I'm like, we can't do that, man. We'll get like a Bugster army. It'll be Go Riders all over again. But yeah, really good scene. As for like Emu, it's what you guys pointed out. It's interesting that like when Dan died, like Emu cried because like he couldn't save him. But now that he's back, like he just kind of doesn't even want to give him a second chance. So it's kind of interesting what's happening. I mean, especially because of like the preview. It should be interesting what happens next episode.
So, we cut to Paradox tormenting some ride players, and Genom shows up to challenge him again. Poppy shows up to yell at Dan for acting alone. Oh, Drago, are you back? That's okay. Poppy shows up to yell at Dan for acting alone, but Dan tells her to shut up. So she henshins and knocks Genom out of his henshin. We then get an emotional moment for Poppy, and it is one of her best moments in this series so far. She literally tells Dan that she's grateful to him because he gave her life. In a sense, he is like her father.
Yeah, I love this moment. The background music track they used was on point as always. But I really liked it because it's even deeper than that. Because in a strange way, Poppy has part of Kuroto's mom, so part of her created him, but he also created her. It's really one of the strangest relationship dynamics I've ever seen. Period. But
Circle of
it's just
life.
so great. Yeah. Uh, I wouldn't even say that. But it's really good. Yeah, and this whole scene was great.
Yeah. Also that uh, in this scene, I really like this scene because it was Mother's Day that day, which is pretty coincidental for that episode. And yeah, and then that thing was a really emotional moment for when how Poppy was just telling Dan and talking to him about how she feels to as a Dan as a father figure. Also, it also explains that Poppy defending Dan for a while in for the past two episodes. That was pretty reasonable. And also it also explains that why Dan actually wouldn't didn't use Poppy to complete Chronicle because and he was searching for another Doremi for Beat Buxter instead, which is pretty. I guess this explains that part.
Like the just seeing her, the way that Poppy has changed over the last couple of episodes with her starting to get the memory, Dan's mother and all that, is she is to me throughout the series with the amount of time that her character has grown. To me, I feel has grown. She's grown the most because she's gone from basically just being this cute little, you know, game avatar that is helpful to a character with full range of emotion and understanding of the way the world she is in works, and the fact that she's with especially with the speech that she's come to terms with how she was created, why she was created, and is completely understanding of and forgiving of Dan for that, based on with the memories that she has, with the fact that she knows that yes, she came from Dan's mother, and you could tell that she felt terrible about that with the last couple of episodes, with the way she was kind of mopey to going, you know, to going from that to being completely accepting of it and being grateful for that she has this chance at life, and with the way that Dan had programmed her, you know, to be good, to be, you know, loving and kind and all that, which is exactly what she is, and albeit very, very hilarious at times. But just the emotion and the way that just every character that heard the speech on screen reacted, it was amazing to see. It's moments like these in this show specifically that make me enjoy watching tokusatsu, Kamen Rider especially, because there is some very phenomenal acting when it comes to these type of speeches, and it was just excellently well done. And like I said, it's shown the growth that Poppy has had and her acceptance of her place in the world that she was created in, and you know it spurs on for things here shortly within the episode, and so it was used completely effectively. There was no missed cues, nothing said that wasn't 100% perfect for the scene.
Exactly. Um, uh, Man, you guys really did cover all the good points. I mean, like the only other thing I could add was like I was thinking it was probably like it's almost like you could say it's a brilliant play for Poppy to say like, "Oh, you're like my dad," right? Because that way, if you couldn't get Dan on your side from like the humanity side, like help us, you know, beat the Bugsters. But now this way, at least they could get him on their side by saying, "Hey, I'm one of your creations. Save me because, you know, I'm one of your brilliant creations. You don't want me to get destroyed." I don't think that's how it was, but you know, I mean, that's one of the things. It's like such complex emotions like that could play into it just a little bit, but who knows?
And then, of course, Paradox has to kill the moment by attempting to kill Poppy because she's a traitorous bugster. So he activates a finisher using the dangerous zombie gas shot, and Dan takes the hit for her when because he gets a feeling of her reminding him of his mother. He loses another life, but when he responds, Emu agrees to work with him to end Kamen Rider Chronicle, saying that Dan needs to use his continues to repent for what he's done, and they henshin together. And then we get a sick team up fight with them as they overpower Paradox together. This is something I never would have guessed I'd see in this series. Hero Rider teaming up with one of the main villain riders. This was a really good. This wasn't even just a good team up, this was a good fight on its own. Everything about this shows just how far they've come in their combat experience this series.
Yeah, and they're really good with build up speeches, but also translating that emotion into an epic fight. Because, I mean, I'm sure people can think of a couple Rider and Sentai shows where they have a good speech and then the fight is just kind of meh. But wow, they've been so on point with getting both back to back. This fight was great. And it's great that Emu can still use the T-slasher despite Mighty Brothers probably being useless. I'm not sure.
Gadgets can be used to summon the weapon that they have without transforming with them.
Yeah. So it's nice to see that. Did I have anything else? Oh yeah. This episode's definitely going into my top 3 for this show, if not top 1. It's just great. There's nothing missing. They hit everything perfectly. The humor, the drama, it's awesome.
I really like the moment. I really liked in this before this fight was when both Emu and Dan, they show the parallel between them by saying, Emu says that I will clear the game with no continues, and Dan says I will clear the game even if I have to use continues. That was pretty good parallel between them. And also the fight sequence was one of the best. Like the use of power ups, Gem's way of decreasing Parrot's level to all the way back to 50. And also, this also makes Parrot very terrifying because the thing is that even with level 50, with one being level 99, level 99, he was still holding his own. At least like for that period of time. He got his ass handed, but yeah. And also after they get the speed up power up, it looks like it's the fight is from Dragon Ball Z rather than any Kamen Rider show I've seen, or maybe Kabuto. But yeah. And
like this fight was fantastic, and like Drago said, I the little let's make a joke with the tagline with Dan, because with Emu's I'm gonna clear it with no continues, and Dan's basically for the win. I'm gonna do this however I have to. I don't care. I'll do this as long as it takes. I don't care how many lives I have to lose.
I'll clear this with continues.
Because it's literally, like I said, it's literally, yeah, you know what, fuck it. I'm using continues. You can kiss my ass. it was great, and like it does show. It just even in with just that small little phrase, just how different when it comes to these games that the two are. And the fight itself was amazing. I'm still trying to figure out what the hell Dan had stretchy arms for. Other than that, the fight was phenomenal. And like Drago said, with Parado still being able to hold his own against that despite his level dropping so far, is slightly terrifying when you think about it.
Yeah. The build up to this fight was freaking amazing. And then the fight was great, man. That freaking triple power up, yeah, that's what I thought too. Like, such a DBZ moment. I mean, it's a good thing that like Toei Animation is freaking animating Dragon Ball Super right now. So that, so, oh, what do we get for games? Yeah, freaking Bandai Namco games for gas jets. What do we get for animation? Let's just freaking steal some DBZ shit. You know what? I don't even care anymore. It works too damn well for me to be mad at it. It was great. Also, that like, oh, we'll just use our catchphrases but make it badass. Oh, that was great. Like, Ex-Aid uses his and Dad's is like the exact opposite. I was like, fucking hilarious. That just reminded me of like um Zyuohger, where like the final showdown with the villain where Yamato constantly goes, like um don't estimate this planet or something like that. Oh, don't mess with Earth or something. Like that, and then like the final villain also says that, and it's such a badass moment. It's like, this is why we have like henshin sequences and catchphrases, Toei, not just so you can throw them out there in Gaim. Oh my god. Ghost is pretty shit too. But team up. This is what you were asking, Rai, before. Like, has there ever been like a team up where like the good guys just team up with like the bad guys and they become like friendly riders or whatever? Um, Whatever. Most of this episode's fighting from here, not in that much. So Rider Man was originally like a bad guy. Like, he tried to kill like V3 and shit. So, and then he became a hero. Um,
Oh,
we've
and
heard like
Nigo with Ichigo, right?
no, um, that's what everybody thinks. But like
That's what I read.
Nigo just shows up. Like, I haven't watched enough of it, but the thing is, like, I think what was happening was when they were like redoing the experiments that made Ichigo to make Nigo, Ichigo probably just rescued Nigo. I think that's what happened. Because like he just shows up and it's like, here's, I have the bike, and what happens? Like, where the fuck did Ichigo go? Oh, he went off to fight European Shocker.
He
Um,
broke his leg on his motorcycle.
yeah, this is why we have suit actors.
This is literally why we have suit actors. They realized having your main actor do the stunts was a bad idea.
Yeah. Um, and then so yeah, originally like there's Riderman, and then I think Z Cross. Like, he was a bad guy. Like, he wasn't brainwashed. He was just an asshole. And then he realized like, no, that's a dumbass thing to do. Um, so like he was the original Decade. And basically, that's why there's kind of a couple references in Decade and stuff. But so that's two in Showa. Um, but usually it's Heisei. There's a couple like another Agito from Agito is one. Like Chalice from Blade.
Oh,
Uh,
right.
yeah. And then like Neo Heisei has a couple of them actually. Actually, Kiva has it too, where Kamen Rider Saga is a bad guy, and then he becomes like a good guy, where he's sort of like the villain in like
I
the
didn't watch
third
that
arc.
movie.
That movie, that
The,
show.
the Kiva movie? That's not what you're talking about?
No, like Kamen Rider Saga is like the white. I mean, not Ixa, the other white one that looks more like a Fangire. That's Kamen Rider
Oh!
Saga.
I
That
forgot that guy had a henshin.
Yeah, and then he gets Dark Kiva afterwards. But
I
when he gets
forgot he
Dark
had his
Kiva,
own thing. He used it like twice.
yeah. Because it's the safeguard armor. It's like the armor of the prince. That's what the Kamen Rider Saga armor is. So it gets passed down basically. Like you know how like Kiba the third sort of gets it's weird, right? Like technically, okay, I'm not gonna count Decade because that's one of the things where it's like we're not counting rival riders because there's a lot of those. Um, but oh, Zolda because like Kamen Rider Knight is the rival rider to Ryuki, but like Zelda fucking wants to kill everyone because he's gonna win. I mean,
the,
Asakura is just an asshole, but Zelda just wants to
the,
win.
the episode where Zolda's broke his arm, so he's making Ryuki activate his finishers for him,
Oh,
is the best.
it's fucking great. And like Ryuki at the end is like, "Fuck this shit. I'm gonna use yours as my shield now." It's great. Um, and then in Neo Hise, let's see. Like Bert is kind of more of a rival rider. So Forze, yeah, of course, Meteor fucking killed Forze, right? Um, Wizard, like Nito is kind of a rival rider, but it doesn't last long because the writers weren't really interested in doing that. Uh, let's see. The guy, I don't think so. I think there were just a lot more rivals. Oh, I mean, I guess freaking Melon Lord um, was turned good, I guess. But like it in holy shit, man. In okay, in Drive it happens, and then in Coast it happens a lot. Like in Drive, Chaser is fucking Machine Chaser wants to kill them for like a third of the show, and then he turns out to be a good because you haven't watched Drive, right? Um, and then he turns out to be like Proto Drive, and then he becomes like Kamen Rider Chaser, and he helps them out throughout, and he's like the best character in that damn show. Um, so there's that. And then in fucking Coast, not only is there one, there's two. Both of Coast's secondary writers wanted to kill him. So like Spectre shows up and he's sort of like a slightly lower tier villain in the first arc.
When
By the
you
end of the
say kill him, do you just
like
mean
no,
stop him from
literally like
earning his
save him.
second chance?
Yeah, because they're like you're in our way. We will fucking murder you.
He's
If you
already
get in
dead
our
though.
Yeah, I mean like literally like smash you to bits.
Like, just destroy his soul forever.
Yeah, because it's like you're a thing that shouldn't exist because you're getting in our way.
That's metal.
Uh, I mean, Spectre sort of has another reason too, where he's like, okay, it's you or it's either your wish gets granted or my wish gets granted, and fuck you, mine's more important. Because he's like, I'm gonna wish my sister back to life. Like, screw you, Ghost, you're getting taken out. And then like Ghost does something to win them over and stuff, and like that's a really good arc. Like the way Ghost secondaries join Ghost side are like the best arcs, some of the best arcs in Kamen Rider Ghost, because like he wins Spectre over because like he tries to save Spectre's sister instead of himself, and it's like, what are you doing? And it's like I can't be mad at a guy who did that, right? And then for Alan, he's like basically there's two villains in the first arc. He's the one who lives, and he's the villain in the second arc. So Kamen Rider Necron is the villain for two arcs. So like 2/3 or half or 2/3 of the show, and then he becomes like the third main writer for the remaining show, and that's a pretty good arc too, man. He has like the best arc in the show also. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
think the thing that makes it so unique and great is that he's not just teaming up with like the jerk rider. This would literally be like Gaim eventually teaming up with Duke in some twisted ass way. So yeah, this definitely feels like a first because it's so unexpected and different. It's pretty awesome.
I mean, the thing is, with next week's preview, like, I don't think Dan's gonna become like redeemed. But if they were going to like, this is the equivalent of like fucking Kamen Rider Taiga becoming from Ryuki becoming a good guy. It's like yeah, technically you can atone for your sins and shit, but like there's just too much BS and you've done too much crazy shit for me to ever really trust you.
Well, yeah, that's what I think as well. It'll be like a never-ending redemption quest for him. Because I mean, he took a bullet for Poppy. Old Dan would have never done that. So I think, as much as it might have annoyed him, he probably did take Emu's words to heart. That all right, your continues aren't just to be an asshole. You're gonna start atoning for your sins, and yeah, I think it'll be pretty interesting to see. I think if anyone's going down next episode, it's probably gonna be Paradox. Just saying.
I mean, it might be Graphite too, because that guy keeps showing up and he hasn't done anything. Like, why did we even bring him back? Like, what was the point? I mean, just to show you can revive dead Bugsters. I'm like, okay, but he hasn't done anything, and it looks like we're at the end of this arc, and like, all three of the remaining Bugsters are gonna get taken out next episode. Like, what the fuck? They basically did that. Hey, look, man, Phoenix was a cool guy. We got rid of him too early. Let's bring him back. And it's like, yeah, we should bring him back. We're never bringing him back in Wizard, are we? Nope. Um, yeah, Graphite was a cool dude. Let's bring him back. We brought him back. What has he done? Nothing. Just it's like, why? What's the point? Like, unless you guys have a theory on what they're gonna do with them, I got nothing.
Well,
Right.
I mean, I'll let you go in a bit, right? We didn't think that Dan was really doing anything because I mean, for a while there, he was just getting his ass kicked as Dangerous Zombie. But then he got his time, and now he's back. So yeah, I think Graphite will get some good spotlight. I don't think all the Bugsters are getting wiped out. I have no idea how the hell Chronicle's gonna show up, but we'll see.
Personally, I have enough faith in the Ex-Aid riders to actually use graphite in a good way. Uh, I think so. It's gonna be like the snipe and brave time when they deal with graphite.
Um, so before when we got the new intro and there was that shadowed out rider in it, I thought that was Kamen Rider Kronos, and I suspected that's what they were doing with Graphite. They were going to make him that, but now we've seen that shadowed out rider is just Paradox's level 99 form, and we know that the Bugsters can't normally use the gamer drivers. Well, so unless that rider's using a Buggle driver, I don't fucking know what they're doing with Graphite. He's like the Kotaro of this series.
Kotaro from okay.
Oh, right, you haven't been watching Kyu Ranger.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've seen it on like the Friday Let's Watch stream things. Yeah, you're talking about the Kid Ranger, right?
Yeah, they introduced him
Yeah.
too soon and wrote him off.
Um. Okay. See, like Kronos basically looks very similar to Peridot's powered up form, and that's the thing in the intro. So like, it could be him. Also, Kingston's asking, who do you think Kronos is?
I thought it was Graphite, but now I don't know. Maybe he's just the final boss that we've been hearing about.
I think it's Dan because like he got Dangerous Zombie, and like in the preview, it looks like Kronos has Dangerous Zombie or
I
something.
didn't notice, but maybe I just wasn't looking.
Wait, there's one issue with this. Dan is using the gamer driver and not the Buggle driver when he is using Dangerous Zombie. So no.
Maybe being a Bugster has something to do with it. We'll just have to find out next week. But
Wait. I don't think that Dan is Kronos at the moment.
I don't either.
Yeah, I guess now we need to go to over the last scene because we have been discussing the previews before the actual last scene that we saw.
I mean, we usually don't talk about the previews anyway, so like we could just do it here. Uh, from the way it looked like okay. They put so much of a focus of Danger Zombie coming back, um, and then like Dan finally getting it because like Peridot tries to use it and like he uses it, but it messes him up. Um, Also, like before, Kingston was pointing out, like, yeah, in the first fight, like Dan lowers Peridot's levels, but like in the second fight, it resets, and then Dan lowers it again back to half. So I guess it resets every fight. Um, that's I guess a little less OP, but it's still freaking dangerous. Um, I still think it's like
Um,
because the thing is like Dan's whole thing is like, oh, let's beat the game and people will come back to life. I'm like, it's a load of crap, man. Like Dan's, he built the continue system, but I don't think it's actually like it could bring people back to life, but I don't think Dan cares enough. Because the thing is like the whole reason why he built Kamen Rider Chronicle is because it's the ultimate game, right? And it's like why would he give them a continue if all he wants is to control people. Like, I mean, like maybe there's data for it somewhere, but like Dan's the type of guy who would use like beating Kamen Rider Chronicle and using its power for himself as opposed to like bringing people back to life. So like it would make sense for him to come back in this arc. I mean like I don't want him to be the villain of another arc, but like I could see it happening.
Personally, what I feel about Dan actually, and what I think that Dan is as a character is that he just wants to create the ultimate survival game. Doesn't mean that he would actually, what do you call it? Yeah, he would actually kill people. Like I mean, like he maybe the effect of killing people, you can't continue the game, but you can. But I mean, you can't continue the game ahead, but you can still come back to life. Maybe
Uh,
like that. Yeah,
he,
that's it.
yeah, I mean he did 0 day, right? Like he killed a lot of people already just to complete Kamen Rider Chronicle. Like at this point, I don't think he gives a shit
But
about
their
the
data is stored.
not the ones from 0 day.
You
Yeah,
know,
because he
the
used proto gashets
yeah.
uh,
back then.
he made it sound like his mom's data was stored.
Well, yeah, but Poppy is a completed Buckster.
No,
Yeah?
even
So is graphite!
Yeah, right. Okay, so there's
So what's your point?
four completed Bucksters, meaning we could restore 4 people out of
He
like
didn't
60.
he didn't say exclusively from completed bugsters though.
the only one who can't come back is Kiria.
Did he?
Because
Like I don't
no,
That's the
recall.
way I see it.
nah, he got killed.
Okay, no spoilers. Um, yeah, whatever. Um, Kingston's like, who knew Y2K would lead to this?
Y2K popping up 17 years later. Uh,
Well, at least Y2K did something.
uh. So back at DR, Dan has presents for the other riders. He gives Emu the clear token for Dorimifa Beat, so now Poppy doesn't have to be taken out to get it. He gives Taiga another copy of the dual gashat that he's been sharing with Hiro, so now they each have their own and don't have to keep, like playing tennis with it. Finally, he explains to Hiro that the people who vanish do have their data saved and can be restored. So there actually is hope for Hiro to get his girlfriend back if he can pull it off. Nico goes to yell at Dan, but he avoids it by giving her candy. Uh, However, Dan's ego starts to surface again, and Poppy yells at him. And we get the most adorable shot of Poppy threatening him with the buggle driver, and he hides in a corner behind one of Poppy's teddy bears. It's, I love it.
That was a really funny scene. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, after all this cuteness and wonderful Dan redemption, I just don't see how he would become the thing that he's trying to create. Especially after that moment when Poppy's about to take the blast and he hears her heartbeat, so I guess she has a heartbeat, but yeah, I don't see him becoming Chronicle. And yeah, it's gonna be fun having him as a good guy for the rest of the show, hopefully.
Well, as long as Poppy's around to threaten him, to me was the best scene. That, but the biggest things that pop into my head with this scene is, where did Dan get all the stuff from? He's not been out of that device, out of the game long, and he's already gotten a clear token for Do Re Mi Fa Beat, which, in fairness, that shouldn't be too hard. I mean, he did kind of literally create her, and then I know he did create the dual gachets. It was like, but where did he get time to make another one with nobody noticing? Is there a way he can do that when he's in the Bugster world or wherever the hell he teleports or anything? It was just one of those things. It wasn't really pointed out. It was just, oh, by the way, I've got these things. Here you go. And then
There was a lot of time between scenes, maybe.
Also, the fact that dual gashats are just games, so you can literally copy and paste on a blank dual gashat. That isn't that hard.
No, Vashi's wondering where he got the blank one.
Probably inside his own what do you call it, the room thingy that Poppy went to get the what do you call it, the level 0 gashat and the gamer driver. Probably one of those places where storehouses he must have. He's the owner of a company. He must have a lot of storehouses.
Look, man, Poppy's room, gashets tend to just show up there.
What?
Didn't you watch the specials?
The Poppy's Room specials? No, they were just toy commercials.
They were kind of funny. I mean, they had that moment. They had that. I mean, the best one. Yeah, they're. You know what? In Sentai, this year when they had the Henshin pose specials. Yeah, they had those too. The Kiryu one was the only important one. The others were just oh, here we're Henshining, because that's Dan's a fucking asshole to Kiryu. Because hey, Kiryu, I just beat you up. Put this on. It's Kiryu basically can't even move, so he has to just put this on. And then Dan goes there. It's Henshin is why? Whatever, just shut up in Henshin. You have to do it because you're now. And he does. and he does, and he has to go to level 2, and Dan just goes maximum drive. It's what are you doing? It's maximum, and freaking flies drives Kira right into a wall.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, and then it explodes, and he just says don't you ever fucking mess with me again.
Oh god.
It's yeah.
I remember that, but you make it sound way funnier than it actually is.
Okay. This scene was great, but I mean, maybe Dan can just manipulate game data, because remember, Poppy gave Hero okay, I know it's product placement, the the fork and knife set, but like it's still in the show like 30 episodes or like 20 something episodes later, right? So I don't know, maybe they can just make shit in the um gamer world. I mean like the game world. Also like Dan can just teleport now. Just god damn it. What is that picture? Of course. Of course it's this. Okay, that's great. But yeah, that seems really fun. Where it's like Dan's basically terrified. I'm like, ah, they're having so much fun just acting this out. But before that, when Dan just starts like handing people like, oh, here's a thing to win you over. I was like, you fucking asshole. You're gonna pull something. You're just trying to fucking lull us into security. I'm like, the more nice shit you do, the more I'm like, you're gonna do something horrible pretty soon, aren't you?
Pretty much. Also the in next episode previews, the dangerous zombie Gershad is gonna be used with the gamer driver. That is a tad bit strange, but makes sense. Makes sense, but uh, other and so maybe that's the reason why maybe they are just gonna throw us off like for the identity of Kronos, because now it's not Dan, that's for sure. Or maybe it's like a different copy of him. That's a Kronos theory I have. Or maybe it's some convoluted.
Okay, so for those of you that were wondering what Zero was talking about a moment ago, Drago posted a picture of John Cena wearing 5 different colored shirts like the Power Rangers. Um, okay, moving on with the episode. Having collected all 5 of the lower tier tokens, all 4 of the intermediate tier tokens, all that's left are the upper tier ones. The current CEO of Gundam Corp, Amagasaki Ren, aka the Bugster Lovrika, Kamen Rider Paradox, aka the Bugster Parado, and the Bugster Graphite. Once they've been defeated, they'll unlock the final boss. Episode end. Decade? Anything?
I think I've pretty much said all my theories. I mean, yeah, just heads up, next episode. Dan's gonna be using Daedra Zombie, and it's gonna be awesome again. I think he's gonna use it as like the level up Gasha. Like he's still gonna have the proto mighty action. I don't know, it'll be interesting to see how that fight goes. But yeah, it's gonna be pretty crazy.
Would have liked if Kiria was also there, like 5 riders making a Sentai team and just walking around to beat the Bucksters. That would have been pretty fun.
Honestly, it's like through this series, I every episode with it, I've always 100% looked forward to the next episode. And with the way this episode went, and with the way the preview is set up for, oh, am I looking forward to that? Because especially with now that Taiga and Hiro both have the level 50 Gashots, I just want to see the full, everybody max leveled as high as they can get transformation. I think that's going to be awesome. And then, whatever the hell that Chronos issue is.
He's a secret boss, like the top of the pillar. And maybe that just programmed it like, hey, people are gonna have fun with this impossible to beat boss, or something like that. Otherwise, the this show is actually pretty fun. That I always look forward to the next episode. And yeah, and I say one thing. Parrot is in level 99. He's level 100. He can't count.
Um, yeah, this is a man. It's probably no. Okay, it's definitely one of the best episodes in this show. Um, it's actually it's probably like the most amazing mix. Okay, um, of basically like it's got humor, action, like awesome speeches, really decent effects, and really good setup, all in like less than 30 minutes. Like, okay, this season like Flash and Ex-Aid weirdly lately have like exact same major plot points, like episode by episode. So it's like, oh shit, like this thing happened in Flash, and basically the almost similar thing sort of happens in X8, or I guess X8 comes out first and then it happens on Flash. But like, it's
Yeah.
weird. It's weird seeing that happen. But like, X8 had more wins than Flash, but it's also like way more weirdly like you could see how badly it could just dive into drama and like kind of trudging through its plot. um but like X8's doing such a good job. Like, technically Flash is the best like CW show, and like X8 could pretty much beat it. So that's how good it is right now. As for next episode, yeah, it should be good. Just one last thing, like everybody's like, oh, right, Dan could be a good guy as long as Poppy can control it. I'm like, your hopes now rest on a female Kamen Rider. Like, okay, um, just imagine what that entails.
Puppy's
Like,
gonna die, isn't she?
yeah, so right, like either the curse of the female Kamen Rider strikes or it doesn't. So
And we have two
that's
female riders right now.
that doesn't guarantee success, but yeah, hopefully one of them makes it.
Yeah, but about Flash being the best show on CW, at least this season, Flash has been weaker than Arrow. Arrow has been much better this season. I really I am really liking that one. But Ex-Aid is definitely much better than Flash. At least in this season, the Rider show beat the CW show.
Alright, so everyone said on their final thoughts?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I am definitely really enjoying Ex-Aid right now. This is probably the high point of the series. Hopefully, it has a really strong ending when we get around to that in like 5 months.
I mean, they're doing a pretty good Blade copy, because next episode when they're doing that badass walkthrough, like the only way you can make it more badass and ridery is if you do the Blade thing of they all freaking get on their bikes, turn around, and like ride off fighting, heading for the boss and henshin on their bikes. Like that is literally the only thing they could do to make it even more badass and rider.
Blade
Like,
was the most rider show of all the rider shows. So much
Five?
riding.
5 episodes after they all finally teamed up, I still couldn't believe they all finally teamed up.
I know, right? It's such a good mix. Like, if Dan becomes a good guy, that's probably the only like team up insanity that could beat Blade's insanity. But we'll see. We'll see.
I'm really annoyed by one thing. I'm really annoyed by one thing is that most of the riders don't have a bike.
Yeah, and they took away the bike from the Bugster who had a bike.
And they took away the
Yeah.
rider that was a bike.
Oh yeah.
Literally was a bike, and it was the only bike in the series for riders used, and they killed him.
This is
No,
definitely the least rider show of all the rider shows.
no, no, no. I would say even Drive is more of a rider show than this show.
Because it has two bikes.
Yes.
There's at least one. This one had one for 6 episodes, or not even 6 episodes. What was it?
12,
Like 2 or 3?
12, 12.
6 sounds correct.
Because you
Okay.
got from his
Listen to
introduction,
like four
you get
episodes in.
yeah, you get his Kirya's introduction and then his death, and that's then maybe 1 or 2 episodes after it where he uses or where Emily uses the Gashat. And so
Okay,
like
do,
other than that,
okay, do cycles count?
Are we counting
We're
beasts
talking
now?
motorcycles, not Charlie's fucking bicycle.
No, no, I'm talking about Shakiriki's sports.
Yeah, no, that doesn't count.
God damn it.
I guess beast doesn't count then. But whatever.
He has mayonnaise, whatever. Fucking Wizard's gonna be one hell of a ride when I watch that.
Dude, fucking watch the Wizard in Magic Land movie. It's great. That thing with Beast and Man. Oh, it's fucking amazing.
Um,
Yeah,
But-
man. Like if nobody's ever seen Wizard, like Wizard in Magic Land is Wizard's movie, and just watch that. It's like the most amazing thing from Wizard. Like, forget anything else. Just
Hey,
watch it.
just watch that. Ignore the fact that this series. It's what I do when I watch.
It's too padded. Like the thing is, Wizard in Magic Land is what Wizard could have been if they didn't add unnecessary crap to Wizard, and like mess around with its schedules and things like that.
Like Beast.
I mean, adding Beast wasn't. Whatever. It's gonna go too long if we start talking about Wizard.
I guess that's all for this week. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, I know it was a bit of a longer episode than usual, so thanks to everyone who stuck around. See you next time.
Bye bye.
Thanks everyone who stuck around to the end of this. But thank you.
Thank you everyone for coming out. See you next week.